Hello, amazing ladies in business. Welcome to the HerStory podcast. I'm your host, Kylie King, the founder of Australian Ladies in Business Initiative. And I am so excited again to be joined by the incredible, the amazing, the awesome community supporter, Athanasia Tsambas from Empowering You Support Services. Now, I've known Sia for a long time and I had to have her back onto the podcast because the work she's doing out in the world is something that is so important and so needed. And I just had to come and hear all about her journey again. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me again, Kylie.
So let's just give the listeners a bit of a recap in case they've missed your prior episode. So, Sia, who are you and what is this amazing work that you're doing out in the world?
So my name is Athanasia, but they do call me Sia for short. I am in the disability industry. So Empowering Youth Support Services was established in 2019. It was established for the reason of being a carer for my fiance and the way that the providers were doing work with him. I wasn't happy with that. So I wanted to make a change in the disability industry. My business is based in regards to disability work, such as everyday assistance, going out into the community, being the support side of things, taking them shopping, appointments, taking them on respite. And then there's another side of my business that I'm doing, which is support coordination. So basically that's being their voice, being their advocate in regards to the NDIS and the providers and the services that they have in place.
Beautiful. So you started this journey pretty much because you just saw how it was and wasn't working for your partner and was like, you know what, I see that there's a disconnect here and that it can be done better. So that's what got you started in the industry?
Correct.
Beautiful. That's amazing. So was it an easy thing to start? Like you're just like the next day, that's it. I'm getting involved in the industry or what
No,
happened?
it was a very scary situation for me. But when I was working with a provider, and I could see how that there was no empathy with the client. It was just go in, do the job, and that's it. Where I'm a person that shows emotion, and I when the client is happy, I'm happy. When the client is sad, I try to make them happy. I um I can't just be, hi, I'm here, I'm going to do washing the dishes and then showing no empathy, knowing that my client's in pain or is upset or needs a friend. So I'm still professional, but I'm also a human to my participants.
And I think that's really important, whether you're involved in support coordination or support work, is that remembering that, yeah, you are there to get a job done, but it is such a big aspect of customer service. So to find the right support worker and the right support coordinator is having someone that is empathetic, does realize that participant's a human at the end of the day and is doing the best that they can to, help them live a better life. So for those who have been watching for a while, I've done about 8 years in the disability support sector. I've worked in group homes. I've worked one-on-one as a support worker, not as high up as you, Sierra, and with the experience you have, but I've been in the industry and there has been a lot of changes for the better coming in regards to more people are coming in that do care and that there's rules that apply differently now. Like a client can choose who they want to work with, not you're stuck with this support worker and this is who you have. So I think there's been some changes that have been good, some probably not so good, but there are a lot of changes happening now. I know you probably can't say a lot about it, but how have you found that the NDIS or the disability industry has changed since you started?
Yes, you're correct there in regards to that you can change support workers, but I'm finding that a lot of people are joining the disability industry because I think that it's the easiest way to make money when it's absolutely not. And I do find that a lot of providers do like to squeeze as much funding out of a participant, which I don't totally agree with. I do tell a lot of my participants that when a provider asks for funding, not to release their funding amount, for them to obtain a quote in regards to the services that they have and what they're going to quote for that. I'm very firm in regards when it comes to that, because I feel that in the support coordination side of things, I'm also trying to control their funding in a way that it will last for them longer. So in that regard, that's amazing. I'm happy with the NDIS in regards to that. But I'm finding by putting cuts to a lot of, for example, occupational therapy and that for participants that do need that funding, I'm not agreeing with.
So there's a lot of changes coming in, as we know, with registrations and things, and there's still a lot more things that we don't know what the effects are going to be. I did hear recently that they're going to bring AI to be involved with the plans,
Yes.
whether that is happening or when that happens and how that's going to shape things. But I guess when you mentioned about, having empathy, and it's a very like human focused, like being with people in NDIS is human focused, then to have a robot come in, or an AI thing to come in and judge things, I feel myself that it's going to be messy, really.
Going to be messy because they're not going to read the reports that, for occupational therapy or speech or dietitians or, psychological. They're not going to read those reports. They're just going to make judgment on what they see in front of them. And I just find that that's ridiculous, because at the end of the day, each participant is different and they all have their own needs and requirements that NDIS is not going to meet. I mean, getting a plan that's now they're putting plans out for 3 years. That's ridiculous, because how are you supposed to know if the participant circumstances is going to change in those 3 years? And then putting a change of circumstances, sometimes it can be a 6 week to 6 month wait.
Wow. I didn't hear about the 3-year plan, but I completely agree with you, because even sometimes when we do goal setting in business, we go, okay, what are we doing this year? Or maybe stretch it for 2 years. But then they say sometimes if you go anything more than that, it can become too unrealistic and you might shut down and you won't complete that goal. So I can understand that that would be frustrating, because you don't know what's going to happen in that time. And then, yeah, if a change of circumstance takes 6 weeks to 6 months, and would that be the same if they run out of funding? So say that you mentioned before, some people just go, "Hey, I'm in the sector because I'm going to make a lot of money." I have seen a lot of advertisements with like 19 and 20-year-olds who have just left school, no qualifications, charging $70 an hour, because they're like, "Hey, I'm here and this is what I'm doing." But if a participant does run out of funds, do they have to do the same thing? Do they need to apply for a change of circumstances and then wait?
They do, and NDIS don't take that into consideration. So, say you have a 2 year plan. The good thing I like about the new NDIS system is that now with the plans coming out, it's split into quarter payments. So, in the first quarter, the provider cannot invoice more than the amount that's being distributed in that quarter. So that's one good thing I like about that. But it is actually good, because if you don't use that funding in the first quarter, it does roll over to the second quarter. So sometimes you can keep that funding towards the end of the plan to get all your reporting and that is required.
Well, that is a good thing, because then I guess if you run out in the quarter, it's only affecting the quarter. Whereas previously, if you run out for the year, you're stuffed.
You pretty much have to wait till your next plan, because NDIS will not just do a change of circumstances or do a review because your funding has run out.
So is this something that the plan manager should be keeping track of? Is this something the support coordinator does?
It's a role of the support coordinator and the planner. So the support coordinator should be involved with all the providers. And the planner should be approving invoices and the allocated amount. So, for example, if you're doing a support worker and they're doing 5 hours a week, the company will give you a budget the quote for the plan, and you'll place it into the plan manager, and the plan manager should set that funding aside. But a support coordinator also has to monitor that funding, because sometimes the provider can invoice more than what they've quoted.
Okay.
And the funding runs quicker.
So it's important that your support coordinator and your plan manager are they're communicating quite well and they know what's happening. So in case support coordinator misses something or plan manager misses something, someone's going to go, hey, stop spending, or you're going to run out too soon, or you're coming to the end of your plan.
Correct.
And I guess that would work too, as if you had an underspend too, because you'd want to spend the money that you've got in the plan, or unfortunately NDIS, I'm guessing like anything, may take it off you.
They can, yes.
Yeah.
Because they'll say that you're not required for that funding. You're not utilizing it, you don't need it.
Very similar to when I worked in corporate. If we didn't spend certain amounts in our budget by the end of the year, they're like, well, you didn't use it last year, so you don't get it this year. So it would always be that last minute, buy the new printers or buy the new computers or whatever, if you hadn't staggered it out properly over the years. So that makes sense. So with everything, so with the constant changes of the program, with you seeing the good and bad, and I don't want to say like ugly side, but the good and bad side of the industry, what keeps you going? Like, what keeps you showing up every day and trying to be like, do the good fight?
My participants. I absolutely love my participants. I treat them like family. I have, for my work, I have passion. I'm very passionate in regards to the disability sector. Mother Hubbard does come out of me. I think I mentioned that in the previous podcast. I am Mother Hubbard, but I'm not just a carer in regards to the participants. I also care and make sure that the family is also looked after as well.
And do you have your participants, have you had them for quite some time, or are they like, I'm sure you get new ones all the time, but is there any that are like, I don't know, do you have any favorite participants, or one that you've got that you're like, you know what, he's my ride or die?
I do have a favorite participant. But I've had this participant since I started my business in 2019. I had this participant 2 years prior to that. So when I was working with a previous company, the family were very happy with my work. When I did decide to move and start my own business, I did tell all my participants I was leaving, but this special participant wanted me to work with them. And so they moved across with me, and they've been with me ever since. They have nicknamed me the Grinch, which I find very amusing. But like I said, I treat all my participants equally, but I do have a very soft spot.
Well, that's been a long time, like since before 2019 when you started. That's a really like long, beautiful relationship. Even though he calls you the Grinch, you still keep him around, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it would also be worthwhile too to see him grow and see the way his life has changed with the supports that you're offering, which would be a beautiful thing.
Very much so. So especially in regards to his speech has improved a lot. He now will tell you exactly what he wants, and and I've always taught him to fight back, as in not hitting wise, but don't be taken for an advantage. So fight back. And when he doesn't fight back, I actually get upset with him, and he hates it when I'm upset. So now it's like, well, are you going to fight me back on it or not? So, but now I don't have to say fight back. Now he just does it.
Oh, beautiful. And no one wants to make the Grinch upset. That never ends well.
No. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm very caring and nurturing to my participants, but my participants have also provided that same to myself. So when I've had hard situations, they have been my comfort zone. So they've been there for me. So I don't see it as work. I see it as just normality for myself.
Full. So you would have faced a lot of challenges in your business. Would you say what has been your biggest challenge as a business owner so far?
Registering for the NDIS.
And is that's a recent thing with all the changes that are coming in?
Yes, because they're wanting to introduce slowly from support coordination for the NDIS to manage. But the issue there is, for example, the local area coordinators, it's really hard to get in contact with them. And when a participant needs assistance, they need someone to be able to call up on the spot, not wait for a call back or, to be actioned.
So because of that, now you've had to register for the NDIS, and I'm guessing because it's a government process, it's bloody long, it's hard, and it's costly.
Very costly.
Mm, cool. Well, fingers crossed, by the time this podcast airs, you're all registered,
Yes.
which would be exciting. So if we flip it, that's your biggest challenge so far, which we know is coming to an end and it'll be gone, which is beautiful. What has been your biggest achievement so far?
Well, my biggest achievement would be so far with another participant that I've had, that within the last, well, say 2025, I've had to move them in a group home twice and go through the whole situation twice over. That was my biggest achievement, but it was also my biggest obstacle this year, because emotionally and mentally it was very draining. But knowing where the participant is now and knowing the care that they're in was worth every little bit of pain. And it was also a learning curve for myself. So every day I actually learn from my participants in regards to the disability sector.
Beautiful. And they're now happy and settled and
Absolutely, absolutely happy. And the staff, they're amazing.
beautiful. That's so good to hear. Good job on you, see. That must have been really hard to make that decision too, with them, of course, to go, look, this isn't the best place for you. Let's look at somewhere new. That would have been a lot of work and a lot of adjustment.
It took a lot of effort for me to approach the family to move this participant, because from what was happening in the previous group home, I wasn't happy with. And I just found that they were trying to take the power off the family, where with this place that the participant is in, they're absolutely amazing. They keep me updated, they keep the family updated, and the participant is so happy. You can actually tell, even by being nonverbal, just the way that they're moving, they're acting. It's a blessing. It's an absolute blessing.
Amazing, Sia. That's fantastic. Good on you. That is a massive achievement.
Thank you.
So, if we look to the future, so empowering new support services is your business, and I'm going to pop all the links below so that people can come and stalk you and check out your stuff. But what would be your big goal, do you think, for the future? Like, where are you hoping to either see your business go, or maybe see where the disability sector's going? What are you planning for?
If you had asked me this 6 months ago, it was to increase and do group center work and in regards to that. But I'm actually finding and enjoying the one-on-one. So I'm wanting to build my business with more one-on-one support, and increasing the support coordination to, getting more participants in regards to that. Because I do love working with my participants face to face, but I also like fighting for my participants. So I kind of like the support work and the support coordination, but I do treat them separately. So if I have a client that's support coordination, I will not do support work with. And again, vice versa, support work, I will not do support coordination.
I also like the fact that you're there to fight or advocate for your clients. So you're not ready to shy away from that. So if someone needs, and I think sometimes with any government department you deal with, and NDIS is a government department, any government department you need with, sometimes you need to pull some punches, or you need to get out there and go, no, this is what it is, and this is what it should be. So I think that it's absolutely admirable that you're like, I'm ready to go toe to toe with the government to make sure that my participants get what they need, which I think is so important, because as you mentioned, with everyone coming into the industry thinking it's an easy job for a quick buck, they're just sort of going, okay, well, this is what I'm doing, and we'll just move on. So it's good to see that there's amazing business owners like yourself going, no, 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 I'm not accepting that. I don't care what the AI robot says. I'm going to go toe to toe and fight for these participants, which I think is such a beautiful thing.
I always, especially after a plan review, when they're providing you the plan and you're having a meeting for that, and they've declined something, I question them as to why it was declined. I don't just, let it go. I actually question them, and then I will have a discussion with the family. And if it's actually worth fighting, I will go back to the NDIS to have that changed.
Oh, that's what we want to hear. We love someone that loves a good fight. Good
Yes.
stuff. So, do you have any, for anyone that's listening, because you've been in the industry for quite some time, you're an expert in it and you do amazing work. Is there any tips that you would provide for any listeners who may be in the industry, looking to enter the industry? Any tips that you would give at all?
It's not easy, but it can be a lot of fun. And when you're seeing a participant achieve their goals, it's like, I'm not a mother, so I can't say from a mother's perspective, but it's like a mother watching their child take their first step. You've got to be consistent, but you also have to be patient.
Very true. And things will happen in time, and then that patience will just become a beautiful thing in the end, like that story you shared about your achievement.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. See, I'm going to pop all your links below so that they can find you, stalk you, check you out, ask you questions. You also can be found in the ALIBI community because I know you're an absolute amazing supporter of the community. So thank you so much. And yeah, I look forward to seeing everything that you achieve in 2026.
Thank you for having me.